Welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast on the Prepper Broadcasting Network. We talk prepping, guns, and politics every week on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Go check out our content at MoFpodcast.com on Facebook or Instagram. You can support us via Patreon or by checking out our affiliate partners. I'm your host, Phil Rabalais. Andrew and Nick are on the other side of the mic, and here's your show. Welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast. Due to popular demand, mostly from one very insistent patron and then several other patrons that joined in the digital dog pile, we have set aside almost this entire evening to see if Nick can screw a Phil Rant out of me. Now, for those of you who are relatively new to the show, a Phil Rant is one of those moments in time where my temper boils over. I justify every government watch list I'm on. I usually make statements that stop just shy of the statute of limitations for getting me in serious trouble. And I'm guaranteed to piss off every single politician, about half of law enforcement, most federal employees and federal agents. I'll basically start running my mouth and really piss people off. But some people find that shit entertaining. So, we'll see how this rolls.
Yes, we will. But Phil's got a wee mini topic in here first.
I do have a wee mini topic, but first we have to acknowledge the people that are listening, and we have to do admin work, because if we don't, we will forget, and then...
I can't distract you from admin work in a bid to upset you?
No, because I'm going to do the admin work on the front end before the whiskey starts flowing. All right, so I see Jim Rouse, I see Raggle Fraggle. I think Gil Rab might actually still be lingering around. She jumped in before the stream started and offered Nick any help he needs in pushing my buttons, because after 21 years together, she knows exactly what pisses me off real bad.
Oh, marriage old enough to buy a keg.
Well, consider it like this. Y'all can opt in or opt out of hearing me rant about stuff that annoys me once a week. She gets to live with me. So, everything I'm going to complain about tonight, she's probably heard at length through the walls, potentially.
Yeah, quite literally through the walls sometimes.
Yeah. All right, admin work real quick. Pitter patter, get at her. Promote bad decisions by becoming a patron. If you become a patron, you could be one of the sociopaths that put me and Nick up to this episode. Otherwise, you could buy merch for the Vibes from the Southern Gals. Cool t-shirts, funny stuff. Links in the show description. And if you'd like to prevent war crimes or invent new ones, you should do it with Disaster Coffee. Code MOF. Get you 5% off of your purchase. And if you don't use the promo code, I'll yell at you. Unless you're subscribing, in which case I'll forgive you.
In which case you will yell at me 3 times.
Yeah.
And then catch on.
Although it is worth pointing out, we on the Disaster Coffee team are having a discussion right now about potentially doing away with the subscriptions, because there just hasn't been a lot of uptake of them amongst our customer base. We need the 3 of us boys are going to sit down and look at it and make an adult decision. But if we do decide to get rid of the subscriptions for anybody that applies to, we will reach out. And quite frankly, you could use the code MOF and get the exact same discount. It just won't be automated.
Yeah. Then I just have to remember to buy coffee before I'm damn near out of coffee, because it takes a hot minute to get that coffee here from Cali.
Yeah, well, the thing of it is, you have to bear in mind about Disaster Coffee is it is small batch roasted to order. So unlike anything you're going to buy on the store shelf that's been sitting there just waiting for you, when you order the next day, the roaster gets the order and the roaster starts to roast your stuff, and he lovingly packages it and ships it across the country to you. So 100% of the time it takes for you to get your coffee is because they don't start making it till you order it.
And, I get it. It is really good coffee. I will say, though, my mailman does not lovingly apply it to the box, though. He just sort of crams that shit in the box as hard as possible. I've had a hard time getting it out of the box on more than one occasion. I should probably stop ordering 3 pounds at a time.
You should order 5 pounds, because then it'll be too big to fit in the box.
Buddy, he's got a good stuffing arm on him. He's put some stuff in that mailbox I did not think would fit, to be honest with you.
My mailman is a very skinny, older man who's got to be close to retirement, and I always feel bad when I order bullets, because, the reloading component companies, they love to see how much crap they can cram into those flat rate boxes. And you'd be shocked how fast the weight adds up when it's all lead.
So yeah. I when I used to live in town, I had the same FedEx guy and the same UPS guys every time. The UPS man, when I took up casting fishing lures, got really upset with me because I was buying 100 pounds of lead at a crack.
Yeah, my real habit doesn't involve 100 pounds at a time, but I will say that it is quite entertaining to see the mailman bring a shoebox size box.
Oh yeah,
and
all he could carry,
and then tape around it that says "Warning Heavy,"
yep.
and the net is like 36 pounds. Oh, yeah. Neighbors one time, they were collecting our mail for us while we were out, and I had forgotten to mention I ordered a box of bullets. So, of course, him being the dutiful neighbor, like, he came over to cat sit. He went to pick up the box and almost dropped it on his freaking foot because he was totally unprepared. So then he asked me nonchalantly when we get back, like, what in the hell was in that heavy box? And that's when the conversation started.
Bullets,
lots.
What did you order? Bricks of lead. What?
Yes. Why would you order bricks of lead? Because they come in small quantities that are roughly conical and bullet shaped.
Yeah. Well, you know, the nice thing is the 1 pound ingots that everybody casts their lead into, they fit really perfectly in U.S. Postal Service flat rate boxes, and it's still $7 to ship that whole box.
Yeah, we definitely get our money's worth out of flat rate boxes.
Oh, yeah. But as we have discovered, if you take a U.S. Postal Service medium flat rate box and fill it full of pistol brass, you better just tape the bejesus out of that because it comes out a basketball by the time it gets to Illinois from Texas.
Yeah, Stuart sent me my box of 5.56 brass, of which half of it has been processed.
Yeah, I have not. I cannot say the same. I still have. Well, that cardboard box behind me next to the drill press is all full of sorted 9mm. It needs to run through the hopper and be deprimed and cleaned.
Yeah, it's
going to take a minute.
It's a process. All right. Rachel's saying, I meant we have to. Oh, there was a comment ahead of that.
Yeah, we have to be.
We have to be adults and remember to make coffee / order coffee. I mean, if you don't, then your husband will stop acting like an adult.
Well, I'd probably act like a more irritable adult.
So you are still on the recreational end of the coffee habit, not the habitual end.
Oh, it's definitely a habit. It's definitely, there's a caffeine addiction in there, but I think it's more of like a self-medicating at this point than an actual energy boost. Because, I mean, I don't stay awake when I drink coffee. In fact, I can have a cup of coffee and then go take a nap.
Same.
But I don't know. It makes my brain run better.
All right. Dr. Scary Guy said he's starting off at 2 times to catch up. Y'all are going to sound real slow and drunk in a couple of minutes. That's fair because no. I'm going to be very slow and drunk in a couple of minutes.
One can only hope.
And Jeff Jack catched up on old episodes. I'm assuming he's talking about the one that we were debating whether I change up my optic on my AR.
Oh, yeah.
He said the correct answer is 3 to 12 or 3 to 15. I might actually have an opportunity next week to stretch the legs on that 1 to 6.
I can have you putting headshots with that 1 to 6 on 1 power at 300 yards. It's not difficult.
I mean, I was a young, dumb private hitting, like, sheet of paper sized targets at 300 yards with iron sights. So yeah, it's certainly doable.
It's not only doable, it's trivially easy. One of the fun things I would do every time I took a new person out to the prior range I used to go to that had a 300-yard rifle range as their main range was the first thing I would do is I'd have them hitting targets at 300 yards. I'd tell them, okay, here's what you're going to do. Here's your hold. Here's your wind call. Talk them through how to do it. First round, smokes a headshot on a target.
Yeah, that's really what I want to do. I've got 200 rounds loaded of that 77 grain Match King plus... I think 5 20-round magazines that are also loaded. So I'll be bringing 300 rounds of that specific load that I'd like to test Mostly because I just want to see what the drop is at range. And frankly, spend some time shooting it because
7 grain would be.
I'm going to use a ballistic calculator to figure out like kind of roughly. But what I really want to do is know what those subtensions in my reticle equate to at 200 to 300 yards.
So on my 20-inch with a 55 grain, if you held, let's see, it was a 2 MOA dot, I think, and then a 6 MOA ring, and then a 30 MOA ring. And if you held the 2 MOA dot at the top of a 1/3 scale IPSC head, you would hit it dead center at 300 yards from a 25 250 0.
Yeah. No, I know Dr. Scary Guy is being sarcastic, saying the news told me only a sniper can make a 150 yard shot on a target the size of one human. I'm the furthest thing from a sniper, and I can put 4 rounds cloverleafing together at 100 yards, and I'm not that good of a shot.
You can take a rack grade like 1022 and make 300-yard headshots with laughable ease. You can do it just as well with a 9mm handgun. It's not difficult. Michalak did it at 1,000 with a 357, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not that you have to be a sniper. It's that you just have to be not wildly inept and have the basic ability to follow instructions.
Not wildly inept sounds like a reach for some people, though.
Yeah, but it's really not, though. All you have to do is sit there, shut up, and pull the trigger when you're told to. I mean, it.
Fair. We have to get to topics, or you're not going to have time to get a rant out of me.
That's true. Unless I distract you long enough that we never get to any of the topics and thereby upset you.
Don't play that game. So mini topic on the front: how to speak MOF. So there's a couple of sayings here that Nick and I have on occasion used, and I find them hilarious. So I thought that bore recounting for those of you who don't speak MOF fluently. So, starting off with French carpentry.
Which, by the way, Chris, get on that. I want a t-shirt about French carpentry.
And why do we want a t-shirt about French carpentry?
Because it's referencing guillotines.
French carpentry is the absolute best way to scare the hell out of tyrants everywhere. Also, a very spicy way to reformulate your government. Ad hoc.
3 or 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
You say what you will about the French and their socialist proclivities in modern era, but there was a time when those people were a little nuts.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, they were coming out of the Little Ice Age into the Industrial Revolution, and they had a massive food crisis due to weather-related events that kind of kicked that off.
It didn't help that they got conned into fighting World War I and basically shredding an entire generation in the meat grinder.
Yeah, but arguably 2 generations.
Yeah, because that's a good point.
You got to remember the initial groupings of French soldiers weren't 17 and 18-year-olds. They were long-term service legionnaires that were career officers, and most of the French career officers were dead by what? 1913?
Yeah.
Like almost all of them except for the generals. I think at the time, so like you think about it this way, back in the day in France, you didn't get to be an officer if you were not a noble or at least fairly wealthy. You didn't have to buy your way into officer status, but it was very expensive to buy the things that were required to be an officer. Mm-hmm. The uniforms, the medals, you had to keep servants, you had to keep certain number of horses, you had to keep a variety of very expensive things, and you had to attend a higher education of some kind.
Yeah.
You could not become an officer in the French military prior to World War I believe, except for field commissions, without having attended a university of some kind.
I believe that was the way.
I know there were a few exceptions for the upper nobility and like for the what at the time existed, the minor landed gentry could get their children into officers' billets, and they would then pay a little bit of money to buy them an officer's commission. But turns out when you have half of your officers leading an infantry charge into an entrenched machine gun position over an open field over and over and over again, the attrition is shockingly high among the officer corps.
Very much so.
So I mean, you had French aristocratic families that essentially went from having 20 or 30 male descendants and being fairly well off to having no male descendants left, and the line just sort of ending in between and shortly after the two world wars.
Mm-hmm. And then there's that whole business during World War II where they were actively rounding up French nobility and military veterans because they thought y'all might cause us trouble.
I mean, they did.
They did, but it's an open-ended question. But it's an open question of like how much of the French resistance was stoked by the effort to stamp out the French resistance.
Well,
it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy at a certain point.
Exactly. It's just like the Taliban in Afghanistan and the what was left of the Iraqi Guard.
Yeah, except that the Nazis didn't actively fund the French resistance.
Well,
slight difference.
True.
Or train them
and equip them and
yeah, all that. Anyway, pedo shredder. You know what a pedo shredder is. Wood chippers. Why do I call them pedo shredders? Because that is what they should be called.
It fertilizes the lawn.
Yes, it also reduces the recidivism rate to 0.
That's true. It is often hard to commit crimes when you are turned into thousands of tiny bits.
This is true. Now, here's one that doesn't come up very often. Guy Fawkes masks.
V for Vendetta. Because we don't really care about Parliament.
No, I don't.
Was great.
I'm going to tell you that V for Vendetta is such a critically underappreciated movie. It is so thought-provoking in so many wonderful ways.
It's the problem you get is the internet weirdos that take it the entirely opposite direction, the pro-statist direction that I see a lot on Reddit.
Wait a second.
And Facebook.
Wait. This might be the first Phil Rant. Nick, explain to me as if I'm mentally retarded. How on earth you look at V for Vendetta and go, hooray for the state? Explain that to me. Like I have a learning disability.
Their argument is that by allowing extremists of any position the ability to get on the ballot, you are risking a government situation like occurs in V for Vendetta. So True. Their argument is if you, instead of allowing free and fair elections, you pick and choose and cherry pick the potential people for the ballot, you can avoid the entire movie from the ground up.
Because that's never worked out poorly before. Human history has it. You have to be an incredibly stupid, short-sighted, mouth-breathing, cousin-banging idiot to think that the solution to authoritarian government is authoritarian selection of authoritarian government.
Oh, no, Phil. They want the two parties at the top to select the people that will go on the ballot on every single ballot.
So this is like two-party communism.
Correct, yes. They would like two-party communism, except anybody on the right that does not also espouse leftist values is barred from the ballot.
I said explain to me like I had a learning disability, not like my family tree is a vine.
Look, there's only so intelligent you can phrase this argument because it's not an intelligent argument.
Yes, it's a very intelligent argument. It's on the same level as the best way to protect your virginity is by having as much sex as possible.
Look, the poop hole is a loophole. We all know that. We've heard the song.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But their argument is there would be no need for V. There would be no need for V if we didn't allow Trump on the ballot.
There would also be no need for V if the state was terrified of the people and respected their ability to upturn the government at any time, as George and Tommy and all of our forefathers said so.
That's true.
Just thinking out loud here.
You have to remember, these are the same people that were arguing for healthy, non-immunocompromised individuals to lock themselves in their homes for years on end Some of them the exact same users, because your user history doesn't go away. Even if you make it private Reddit, it's still searchable on Google. All you got to do is type in their username and all their comments show back up. Turns out these are the exact same people that were arguing for snitching on their neighbors for having more than 3 people in their home.
Okay. Moving on. V for Vendetta, critically underappreciated. If anyone ever tries to tell you that the solution to authoritarianism is more authoritarianism, you've probably woken up in the Twilight Zone, or you need to reevaluate the relationships you keep around you.
Or they have an IQ of a ground temperature potato.
Hence, you need to reevaluate the relationships you keep around you, because I am the firmest believer of it's hard to soar like an eagle when you hang out with dodo birds.
That's true.
So, all right, Canadian war crimes.
Ooh, the best war crimes. Doing the big bad in war.
Yep. Doing bad is Canadian war crimes. If you hear me refer to something as a Canadian war crime, I'm talking about doing really bad things in Minecraft.
Most of the Geneva Conventions, 1 and 2, and several of the addendums
do not apply to civilians.
Number one, they do not apply to civilians. They do not apply to non-state actors. But a lot of them are there because of Canadians in World War One.
We really need an episode on Canadian war crimes.
You know what? That sounds like a great after vacation podcast. We can bring up some Canadian war crimes. I mean, the Germans tried to get shotguns declared a war crime right about the same time as they were going all happy with the mustard and phosgene gas.
So, well, okay, but in defense of the Germans, and I hate to do this, I've seen what happens when you dump 8 12-gauge shells on something in rapid succession. It looks like a war crime.
I mean, how is a pound or so of lead, or half a pound of lead, any different than a half-pound hand grenade? Really? I mean, what? How is it worse that it comes out of a shotgun?
Hold up. You're talking to the guy who knows enough military history to say that if you're a little annoyed because I dropped a half pound of lead in your lap, but we're not going to have a discussion about the friggin' the artillery shells that are raining down on us morning, noon, and night for weeks on end. I'm sorry.
The Germans were just sad we thought of shotguns first.
I mean, blunderbusses have been around forever. They had plenty of opportunity.
They did.
They were just nerds.
They made the choice to go with flamethrowers and phosgene gas, which, all right, flamethrowers, great idea. Not going to lie, amazingly effective.
Dr. Scary Guy is saying unrelated, but I think it is related. His grandma's funeral was probably one of the most illegal, attended, and armed funerals in the entire COVID era. And I hope your grandmother was smiling on you from heaven, my son. Raggle, we're going to have a whole episode about what the Canadians did, but now is not the time for that.
Raggle, it got rough.
All right, last one. Hood rat shit.
Mm-hmm. Doing the bad out of uniform.
Hood rat shit is just like Canadian war crimes, but being sneaky while doing it. So see, Canadian war crimes is like, hello, I'm here to raise hell. And hood rat shit is, shh.
Don't talk about what we're about to do. Buddy, yes. I need you to get in the van and not ask any questions.
Yep, I need you to bring your plate carrier, your rifle, your ammo, and an open mind.
And a real poor memory.
Really good alibis. Really good alibis.
Honestly, Jeff, no, I cannot blame the Germans for trying to nerf the meta. What I can blame them for is being sore losers. Oh, yeah. Speaking of the Germans, Phil. Speaking of the Germans, did you see the latest press release from the German government?
Is this where you making me lose my shit starts?
Oh, this actually might be amusing to you. All right. You ready for this?
What have the Germans done now?
The Germans have stated openly that they're going to begin to rearm. They are going to have the strongest European military by 2034, I believe was the goal.
Yeah.
So we have a land war in Asia. We are coming off of a pandemic. We have a pending food crisis in the Middle East and Africa.
Economic crisis that's like really clearing its throat, getting ready to start singing.
We have a potential economic crisis on the back of what was a prior economic crisis.
Not potential. It's coming.
I do think so. I'm not an economist, but I'm
not bold enough to say I know when it's going to happen, but it's coming. Like the writing's on the wall.
We have the landmass of Europe starting to get real upset about particular groups of people again. And we've got Germany rearming to the highest level since World War II.
And yet, in spite of all that, as long as they don't elect like a failed art student, well, I'm not upset with them, because like you and I've had this conversation about like how freaking stupid and short-sighted I think it is to expect that you can abrogate your responsibility to protect your nation to another nation, aka the United States, NATO, the UN, and all that shit.
Essentially all of Europe since 1945. Yeah.
So I wholeheartedly believe that all of Europe should finally embrace the fact that you fuckers have free healthcare, and that's not defending your borders very well. We don't, and we can bomb the entire world into ash twice over. Maybe, just maybe, the dim-witted Americans were right this time.
Well, I mean, I don't know if like having Germany rearm to World War II levels is a great call, especially when nationalist politicians are starting to poll really well in Germany compared to how they have in the last 70 years.
But hear me out. I disagree for one reason.
Okay.
When you have a very large, very angry, very heavy, okay, Nick, you live in a house, right?
Yep.
And in Minecraft, you have a reasonable number of perfectly state legal firearms.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, for the purpose of protecting your home, right?
Yep.
Now, if, let's say, your neighbor suddenly started, like, you know, running barbed wire around the property and inviting a bunch of their friends over and getting lots and lots of guns, and they started...
Poland happens to be right over there.
Looking like they're going to be threatening towards your home, wouldn't you invite some friends over and tell them, bring your guns too, so we can arm up in case the neighbor starts acting crazy?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's not out of line. No, I get where you're at. I mean, Russia's acting a fool right now and invading countries.
But Russia's never stopped. That's what I'm saying. Russia's never stopped acting a fool. The only thing that put a damper on their acting of a fool was the fact that they were economically demolished in their attempt to keep up with us in an arms race.
Are they better now?
Better than they were in 1992? Moderately.
I don't know about that. Like, for numbers wise.
But hear me out. The one thing that Russia can do at the drop of a hat. Now, I think you'd have to have officers in the back with machine guns to encourage the conscripts to go that direction.
That is allegedly what's going on in Ukraine.
That's exactly what's going on in Ukraine. That's kind of standard issue, you know, Soviet tactic. This goes all the way back to World War I and World War II. It's a known quantity. But they can take an enormous population and arm it with shit they've been burying in the snow for friggin' 40 years.
Oh, definitely.
It's not about the fact that their military is so amazing or their equipment is so well maintained. It's the fact that, like, who is it that said that quantity has a quality all of its own?
I don't remember.
It's a famous quote. I'm not attributing it correctly to who it belongs to. But the point remains. They can put up a lot of freaking firepower up against the border, and even if every German kills 100 Russians coming across the border, you're still going to get steamrolled. So yes, I wholeheartedly believe that Germany and Poland and France and all these nations need to pull their panties out of their butt and arm up so they can protect their citizens.
Yeah.
And if that means World War II levels of armament, then so be it, because you don't have... How many times have I said that when there's a violent incident, you are the first responder, you don't get a choice in the matter anymore?
That's true.
So in this situation, you don't get a say in whether or not you're at war if your neighbor comes over your border. You're now at war, whether you like it or not. You get to decide how you respond.
Jeff claims that quote is often attributed to Napoleon. I'm not certain about that. I thought it was a Southeast Asian military leader. But that also could be a misattribution.
It's really killing me that I can remember these quotes, but I cannot usually remember who they belong to.
Joseph Stalin.
That makes sense. Fraggle, this didn't happen in Oregon. This happened in Washington. Army Ranger moved into a really bad neighborhood, and the local bangers and dealers started some crap with him, and he's called the police on him. They came over and said they were going to kill him that night, and he invited a bunch of his SF buddies over and said, hey, bring your rifles with you.
Imagine going up to a ranger and saying, hey, bud, I'm going to kill you later. Bet. All right. Yeah. I'm laying odds on the SF guys. No offense.
We've told this story on this show. What happened was that night when all the local gangbangers and dealers showed up to put the hurt on this one ranger, it got so bad that the dealers were calling the police themselves.
I forgot about that. That's amazing.
And then the police took the rangers into custody and tried to charge them with like premeditated murder and all this other crap. Because like obviously you're sitting in a house, with all these guns, you were looking for a fight. They successfully argue that like we were literally sitting in our house after we had a couple of beers and a barbecue. These dudes showed up to our front door trying to kill us. What are we doing here?
Turns out Rangers beat gangbangers. Who'd have thought?
It turns out that a whole bunch of beer-fueled Army guys, probably something you should just leave them alone to sleep it off.
Look, this is the perfect example right here of tactics versus volume. Look, yes, can you overwhelm quantity or quality with quantity? Yes, eventually
Sure.
There are just not enough bodies and bullets. But until you hit that point, you run into what is it? What is the number, Phil? A entrenched
to assault an entrenched position.
Yeah, it's like 4 or 6 to 1 on average. You need attacking versus defending.
It really does vary a lot, but 3 to 4 to 1 is like the commonly accepted starting
in a peer-to-peer conflict.
Yeah, peer-to-peer, entrenched position, plenty of advance warning. Like you have the deck stacked absolutely against you. It's 4 to 1.
Yeah.
At a starting point.
Yeah, and that's assuming you are willing to take those levels of casualties.
Yeah,
because
you are going to take a lot of casualties.
Right, and
and that also only works, by the way, if you're a determined attacker. Like,
right.
if the minute you start the engagement and you start getting your ass handed to you, them guys start like cockroaches when the lights get flipped on. They start running all directions. You're gonna need 10 to 1 to friggin' absorb this fight.
Yeah, 4 to 1. I believe it's 4 to 1 determined and trained attackers. Was the way it figured. I mean,
like I said, like military engagement history has taught us this over and over, and it's 4 to 1 at a starting point.
Yeah, 4 to 1 is a healthy starting point. I believe before firearms, it was like 8 to 1 into a fortified position.
Yeah,
but
there is a reason why medieval castles were so rarely breached.
Yeah, traditionally you waited until everyone was starving or sick.
Yeah,
and then they quit.
You do what they did in the Alamo. Mm-hmm. They barricaded those poor bastards in there and picked at them until they were basically out of ammunition, and then they came in hot. As opposed to, hey yo, bro, we gotta get you tonight, and the ranger and his buddies said, we'll leave the light on for you.
Exactly. Like that's just a generally subpar call with most retired or former military individuals or even current military individuals. But like rangers of all people.
Currently serving rangers of all people.
Yeah.
There's just, especially this happened in, I want to say it was like 75 or 76. Those boys just came back from the Southeast Asia conference. They were not to be trifled with. You should have just let them drink their beer and pass out in peace.
Yeah, no, that's a generally bad call.
It might have happened closer to 1980. I don't recall. I just know that like it was a hell of a story from the sound of it.
Jeff's clacking in here. In 39, Germany took 6 days to take the Polish defensive line at 40 to 1.
But it is worth pointing out that at that moment where Germany began all this action in 39, it's arguable they had the best military in the world.
Yeah,
certainly the most technologically advanced. I mean, these guys were
the most advanced, I would say.
These guys were using coordinated attacks, and they were using vehicle-borne ground assault and air attacks in a coordinated fashion.
In conjunction, coordinated by radio.
Yes. I think really the only thing they brought to the war a little later than everybody else might have been radar. Because I think the British were kind of on the cutting edge of that.
The British did have the better radar. Germany also had radar.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much, and it wasn't as critical. Well, look, they're on the main landmass of Europe.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that radar can't do for you in the main landmass of Europe.
It also makes a lot of sense for an island nation. There's a lot
less area to cover by radar to get the maximal effect from the radar.
And radar also has a hell of an advantage when you're reaching out over water. A lot further range.
It does. Much further range.
All right, Nick. We're 36 minutes in. You have only got one half-assed Phil Rant out of me.
Phil, have you seen the news that came out of California the other day? Let me make it go.
No, I haven't, but I'm already.
Let me make it go for the audience. So, now, to me, that sounds like a declaration of violent intent.
California, huh?
California. He was given a doctorate.
Probably paid for by U.S. tax dollars. Nick, have you seen the movie Escape from L.A.?
I have.
You remember what they did in that movie?
I remember Snake Plissken's badass leather jacket that I have never been able to find the equal of.
They built a wall around California and turned it into a penal colony. It is time to do it again.
All right.
I'm not even
you're not
trying
to get any argument out of me. The only thing in California I have any interest in is the Redwood Forest. Can we wall that off? Not in California, and just give that to Oregon?
Are there communists in the Redwood Forest?
I mean, there's probably some hippies getting high in the Redwood Forest.
Those are not communists. Those are hippies.
Yeah, a lot of hippies like communism.
Okay, then we deport the communists from the Redwood Forest, and then we build a wall around. We keep the Redwoods.
Good, because I'd like to go there at some point.
Also, we should probably carve off North California, because there's a whole lot of people out there that don't really like being Californians to begin with.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Matter of fact, we could just call that California. We build the wall around the crazy part of California, and we call that hell, because that's what it sounds like.
I mean, it's not getting better.
I mean, it depends. If you like feces on the ground in public and massive homeless population and unfettered drug use, it sounds like a freaking paradise. The fact that you have to freaking have like targets and everything with everything locked up to prevent flash mobs looting it dry. All I'm saying is, I don't have a personal issue with anyone that comes to this country from a foreign land with the intention of becoming an American. I have no problem with it. I have no issue with it. I am happy to see y'all come over here. Please, for the love of Christ, go through the friggin' immigration process. As annoying and stupid and backwards as it is, I would really appreciate if you idiots would follow our freaking laws at least a little bit on the way to becoming American. But once you come here, there's another part to this equation where you were supposed to assimilate to my goddamn culture, not force yours into my home. You come here. That doesn't mean you have to be Christian. There's a whole bunch of not Christians running around. I got no problem with any of them either. But it does mean that basic things like respecting my laws, my traditions, my cultures. If I want to walk a dog down the street, if I want to eat bacon in public, if I want to do any of that shit that your prophet says is not okay, this is not an ethno state, and neither is this a religious state. So fuck all the way off with your nonsense. Go the hell back to wherever the hell you came from, where you can have that religious ethno state, and you cannot be my problem anymore. But if you come here, you get to do things our way. And if that's not amenable to you, then piss off.
Agreed. Look, when I see preachers of any religion making statements like that, the first thing that says to me is, if I say no, they fully intend every home. That means they intend to remove me from my home.
Unfortunately for them, Nick, and I say this with all the love and affection of my fellow man that I can, I barely like 36 people in the entirety of the world. I don't even know how many billion people there are in the world. I don't like almost all of them and haven't even met them yet.
Yep.
Like, no offense to the audience. I don't know y'all. I just not like y'all by default. And if I ever meet y'all, I'm sure I will get really cool really fast, or you'll stay away from me.
Or we will really like your dog.
Or I'll really like your dog, and that'll be the icebreaker. But my point is that I don't like people. Yep. I have a whole host of ways to dispense violence in this home, specifically so that I get to say what happens in my own home. And there is no government, no imam, no priest, nobody coming into my home and dictating how things happen in my home, period, end discussion. And by extension, my community, my state, or my country. If you don't like the way things happen here in America, I don't know why the hell you came here. Except I do, because we have a really robust social welfare system that people in Minnesota seem to really enjoy making use of, whether they are entitled to it or not.
True. You know, this is the problem I have with people that consider Islam a religion. It is not a religion. It's a religion
system.
It is a political system. It is an ethno-superiority system. Because it's also the patriarchy system that all the leftists and feminists have been so mad about for all these years, and suddenly they're in favor of.
Can I just say, and I said this earlier today, it is the weirdest timeline on earth I freaking live in, where there's this unholy union between freaking radical feminists and men that cosplay as women, and men who believe that because their prophet gave them the permission that they can enslave 12-year-old girls to be their sex slaves. Like, actually, there's something so freaking really weird. No. Hear me out. I know it's not weird. I know that that's because, like, the feminist the third wave feminist goal truly is to just destroy the nuclear family. Correct. And that is ultimately the vehicle, and they will make allies with anyone they have to that end. I get all that. I understand. I know how Marxism works.
Will use every single potential ally to get a little bit of control. And they'll take that little bit of control and they'll push it farther and farther and farther until they have a slight majority. And the second they do, through breeding, immigration, and driving other people out, that's when they start trying to enforce Sharia law. Look at most of Europe.
But here's the part where I struggle with. Nick, we've known each other for a few years.
Yeah.
Would you not agree I'm a reasonably rational person?
Yes.
I say some irrational things sometimes, but it's mostly like whiskey and anger fuel. But like, I'm a rational person. 1 + 1 = 2, and this and that go together. At the very least,
you attempt to be intellectually consistent.
So whenever I hear a person who makes bedfellows with another group that is like diametrically opposed to everything they claim to stand for, it just makes my freaking head hurt.
Yes. But the problem is you're assuming that the rank and file feminists are okay with this. It's not the rank and file feminists that are pushing this. It's not the rank and file leftists that are pushing this.
I hear what you're saying. I don't know if I give them that out at this point.
But
I've reached a point in my life at 43 years old where I am so far over the limit of like giving people the benefit of doubt and saying, well, it's not all leftists, it's not all feminists. Where I'm
Oh,
like, no.
it's
If
not
you
about the
hang
benefit of
if
the
you
doubt.
hang that title around your neck, knowing that there are these other people who call themselves feminists who do stupid, fucked up shit, then you are either in league with it, you are excusing it, or you are ignoring it. Period. End discussion.
So the issue is that it's there is a difference between the extremists on the left and their general rank and file population. And what they have done is create a culture of fear and a culture of weaponization of everything. And then they take every single outgroup and label them as the most horrible thing possible. In this case, it's racists and Nazis, bigots, whatever. And great. In the 90s, people were real afraid of being called bigots and racists and Nazis for disagreeing with the left.
And in
the 2000s,
2026,
they were too. And in the 20 teens, they were too. And then everybody realized that, well, I mean,
words
like,
don't have power if you don't give them power.
When I grew up, when I was in high school, racism wasn't really a problem in the Midwest. It really wasn't. Yes, there were some elderly people that would rant about the coloreds. Great grandma who was born in 1930 doesn't like the coloreds. Everybody said, "Don't listen to grandma. She's old and senile." Literally, a conversation I had with family members was that great grandma is a crazy old lady that no one should listen to, but we need to take care of her because she has no one else to do so. You know, it wasn't a problem until they started cramming it down our throats to get rid of the movement. The what was it? The thing that was going on in New York that Tim Pool was all involved in. Shoot. Name is evading me right
Occupy
now.
Wall Street?
Occupy Wall Street. Thank you. Until Occupy Wall Street came around and people all started agreeing with each other that the problem was the banking cartel that controls most of the country and our elected leaders.
The Davos crew.
Mm-hmm. And then they started race baiting and really ramping down on enforcement on crime.
Funny how that works out.
Yeah, it's almost like they were attempting to set up the impoverished areas of the country to turn into these flaming hellscapes so that people would get mad at the groups in those areas instead of the Davos group.
Mm-hmm.
Now, George Soros has funded almost every one of these let all the criminal out DA's political campaigns. So that tells me that his goal is violent chaos. I mean, judge a tree by their fruits. I'm not usually one to quote the Bible, but goddamn, if that don't look like that's the fruit he intended.
Sorry, I have to make another note. You and I are going to have a whole discussion about religion one of these days.
I was an altar boy for like 3 years, and I can't do religion.
I
tried.
I was a good, faithful Catholic, and now I am I am still a Christian, but I am like the most anti-organized religion person you'll ever meet, and that's not against anyone who believes in organized religion. You do you, have fun, go forth, do great things. But I have been burned by so many different religions and so many different religious figures who, not that they couldn't, but they refused to engage in discourse with a person who was genuinely like had questions about the things that were being preached.
Oh, there's definitely a problem with that. I find though, I'm having the alternate issue as I grow older. I don't think the general population is intelligent enough to function without structured religion and big scary sky daddy holding a sword over their neck.
One problem. I don't think it's an intelligence problem.
Oh, I think it definitely, to a point, is an intelligence issue. It's a critical thinking issue on their part.
But I think it's a morality issue. I think that the age-old argument that atheists always put forward, saying that you don't have to believe in God to be a moral person, has been proven wrong. By so many different people.
You don't if you have a high enough IQ to process the long-term cost-benefit analysis. I think
Mm,
that there's a point at which now I think there's an upper bounds to that too. Because I think there are some very hyper intelligent people out there that can process a long term cost benefit analysis and say, yeah, but if I benefit fast enough, soon enough, I can pay that cost and I can still win.
or it's people that just don't care enough about the long term effects of their actions.
Sociopathy
Yeah, well,
could be to blame.
sociopathy or a an inability to defer gratification,
Mm-hmm.
which is a phrase I use a lot whenever we talk about religion and society and everything else. Is I'm like, whichever culture is willing to defer gratification is the one that's usually going to win in the end.
Yeah, and
Because like it's
currently that is Islam. They're willing to play every single possible strategy and wait for the one that wins.
also the Chinese.
Well,
The,
I have questions about how successful the Chinese even are inside their own country.
so I think that the cracks are starting to show in China, but I think it's because they tried to expand way too fast. But
Okay,
I think when China started dabbling in communism, socialism, Maoism, that was where the problem started. But China, by virtue of being such an old society, has a very long range viewpoint on things. Like
sure,
they are willing to burn the next 5 generations of their family down
sure,
so that the sixth one comes out on top. And
yeah.
that is the sort of like plant trees, the shade of which I'll never enjoy, thinking that this country used to be known for that got us to where we are today, until we somehow wound up with at least 2 generations who were like, screw the people behind me, I'm getting mine.
Here's the problem with that, though. The Chinese system does not reward that long-term strategy within
Not anymore.
itself. It
It used
hasn't.
to.
It hasn't since the 1960s.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. It used to for a long
Sure,
time,
it
but
did,
once they started dabbling with
but it
Maoism,
hasn't
things
for
kind of went
three
off the rails.
generations, Phil. It hasn't for 3 generations. Now, I'm not. I've never been to China. I do not really know all that terrible much about China, but there's a number of people that study China that are seriously questioning how in the world China can have a population as high as they claim to
It can't.
between the single child policies, all the
It's not mathematically
starvations,
possible.
all the purges, the fact that there's no economic data that supports a good portion of these people existing at all, that for the last 20 years, none of these, a shocking number of these people have never shown up in the workforce. Not
It's not
once.
it's not mathematically possible.
They can't have a billion people.
They
Because
can't.
it would look like the cities in India. Yes, there are some major cities in China that are extremely congested.
Well,
Some.
the only thing you really need to look at is the sheer number of like apartment buildings and housing projects and everything they've built that they're now tearing down because they're falling in on themselves because they're unoccupied.
Look at so the one I found the most interesting was a scholar that studied social stratification data and technology use. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they took the data as far as like cell phone use
Yeah,
in places like Shanghai, in places like Taipei,
where it
in
should be off the
in
walls.
in places like various major cities in China, Shenzhen province in China, where a lot of the manufacturing takes place, and they take those population metrics, which they're Southeast Asian, East Asian population metrics for cell phone data, and they apply that nationwide to China as far as like percentage of users
Mm-hmm.
compared to population.
I'm following you.
And their numbers come up like 300 million people short
Yeah.
of the Chinese population estimates.
The
So,
flat the flat fact of the matter is that anyone that believes any statements made by the Chinese government needs to have their head examined.
they do.
Like
Because,
we've learned this over and over and over. We learned this through COVID. We've learned this through every rights violation they tried to tamp down. We've learned this over and over and over that while the Chinese people might be decent people, the Chinese government
sure.
is run by sociopathic murdering bastards.
I mean, you can say that about just about any country on the planet. I mean, I don't know of a single country on the planet where the people as a whole are dog shit. But most of our governments, because I don't know that much about all of them, I assume there might be one that's decent, just
I
by
don't know.
accident.
The United States is kind of kind of in the running for that these days because there sure do seem to be a higher than average proportion of shitbags in this country.
Sure does. I mean, Poland's doing pretty all right. I've got a couple of Polish individuals that I know that are very happy with what the Polish government is doing and are considering immigrating back to Poland from America
That says something.
because of, well, okay, one of them is because there's a potential war with Russia brewing and he really wants to kill Russians, which, all right,
Respect his game.
Game's got to respect game. I mean, I get it. Poland, Russia, they've been fighting for a long time. They're just having a wee spat, and then they're going to be back at it. But
I've said before, dude, if the Russians ever manage to piss off the Poles and the Finns at the same time, you're gonna see some shit that's gonna make Canada look like altar boys.
probably, especially if the folks from southern Poland in the mountains get really involved.
Bruh, the last time Russia pissed off Finland, like a quiet little farm boy murked 300 of the sons of bitches. They shot him in the face and he went back to war and killed more of them.
Yeah.
And if I recall correctly, it was either Finland or Poland. It might have been Finland. There was actually a female sniper that was almost as famous as Semo Haiha because her husband was enlisted and he died fighting the Russians. So she went to his old unit and enlisted just so she could kill the bastards who killed her husband.
I mean, you want to talk about motivation? That's a hell of a motivation, right?
Do
there.
not piss off Finnish women, is all I can say.
Dangerous.
Don't piss off wives.
Yeah,
Wives get really crazy when somebody messes with their husbands.
That's true.
That whole fair, gentle sex thing, I don't like. That had to have been a single man that cooked that crap up because every married man I know is like, I know better.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, you got one half-ass rant out of me. What do you have?
Two
Come on,
halves.
man.
I think I had
two halves doesn't make a whole. Come on, you got
two. Look, three lefts make a right.
I'll give you another half hour. What you got? You got to have something.
I don't have enough. I don't have another half hour. I do have an interesting law that was recently passed in my state, Phil, that I think may upset you a wee bit. Have you heard of the Illinois Safe Storage Act?
You mean the one that's designed to do nothing but screw with gun owners because, God forbid, they have firearms within easy reach to protect themselves from a violent crime rate that is skyrocketing and that your state has no apparent will or ability to deal with? No, never heard of her.
So, there's already been a couple of people who've been prosecuted under this. Do you want to know what happened to cause
as an add-on or as a primary charge?
Primary charge.
How in the fucking hell do you... How do you even have grounds to prosecute someone not having their guns in a safe if you don't go into their house to see that their guns are not in a safe?
I'll tell you. Person was going to a non-permissible area for concealed carry.
Okay.
They disarmed themselves and placed the weapon in the vehicle.
Yes.
In a case.
Yes.
In a locked vehicle. In a parking lot.
Yes.
The vehicle was broken into. The firearm was stolen.
Because the person couldn't bring it into the non-permissible area, so they had to leave it in their vehicle.
By law, they were required to leave it in their vehicle. They had, according to the article I read, they had downloaded the firearm. They had taken the magazine out of the firearm, taken the round out, because the Illinois Safe Storage Law, you can't store a loaded firearm in a locked container unaccompanied. Their firearm was stolen, and when they reported that theft to the police officers asked them if the firearm was in a locked case. And they said, no, it was in my locked car. Well, part of the Safe Storage Act says your domicile. Now, in the state of Illinois, your vehicle can be considered your domicile.
Yeah.
Under state law. The firearm was in a locked vehicle. That firearm in the locked vehicle was not in a locked case. Therefore, they violated the Illinois Safe Storage Act and allowed a felon to access their firearm because it was not in a locked case in their locked vehicle. Now, they're not being jailed. They're being fined heavily, supposedly. Either Phil froze or I've upset him. Ah, good. We're back to the French.
French carpentry again.
Mm-hmm. So,
There is something absolutely fucking sociopathic about finding a person because their car was broken into and their property stolen from them.
Their property was stolen from them because their car was broken into, because they had to disarm themselves to obey the law. So by obeying the law, they have violated the law.
One teeny tiny little question.
Mm-hmm.
Are police officers subject to this law?
No.
Any of these laws?
In fact, I believe active duty police officers and state level politicians are exempt.
Okay.
Now, I have not read the full act, but typically Illinois state level politicians are exempt from most firearms laws. And so are active duty police officers and retired.
If you are any of the police officers who participated in any of this bullshit, you should be fucking ashamed of yourselves, first of all. And I'm going to say something that's going to really upset some law enforcement officers out there. So if this applies to any of y'all, I apologize in advance. I love you guys, but sometimes y'all just need to hear it. But this is exactly the shit that makes people like me, who are otherwise fairly law-abiding and supportive people, say, you know what? Fuck it. Just disband the police officers. Defund them. Make them go away.
Fuck it. I'll do it myself.
Look, I have this conversation with Gillian at least once a month about the fact that, like, there was a moment in time in which I was the most anti-defund the police person on earth. I was 100% back the blue. And honestly, COVID showed me loud and clear that I would be better off dealing with my own problems than dealing with these silly men in polyester uniforms doing nothing but being a pain in my ass and enforcing laws that they have no right to enforce, written by assholes who exempted themselves from them that have no right to write those. And on top of everything else, not only do I have them impeding me from fixing my own problems, but when I absolutely want one to show up to do something productive for their community, they are nowhere because they're handing out speeding tickets or stuffing donuts in their frickin' pie holes. I would rather not have police officers in the frickin' world than have to deal with them in the capacity that we currently do, where they do very little that is actually genuinely helpful and a lot that screws with the population and prevents them from dealing with their own problems. Because I'm here to tell you that I come from the old school where if someone steals your stuff, you go steal it back and crack their head open for your trouble. But if you do that, a police officer is going to show up and want to put you in frickin' prison for her committing battery. But they're probably not going to go deal with the person who stole your property. They're going to want to come have a conversation with you about why you left that firearm unsecured so they could be stolen. So I'm sorry. I'm going to join hands with the friggin' BLM and the Marxists for just this one moment in time and say, yes, 110%. Let's just friggin' defund the police. Get rid of them. I am sick and tired of state actors being paid generous salaries to be a gigantic pain in everyone's ass and do nothing of value. And I'm not saying all police officers do nothing of value, but I am saying
there are definitely good police officers.
But boys and girls, I'm telling you that y'all have a whole bunch in your ranks who are doing stupid shit, and you either speak out against them and bring them back in line, or you own the criticism that they're buying. Case in point right here. Someone in this guy's command should have sat him down and told him, quit being an asshole and go do your freaking job. Go get the man's property back and lock up the bastards that took it. But instead, he probably got a freaking pat on the ass and a promotion and probably a reach around because, gun owners are bad. We got to screw them over.
The intention, when this law was originally proposed, the intention was exclusively for parents of children who have firearms in the home. Its initial writing didn't include anything about preventing known felons or unknown felons from accessing these firearms. It was specifically regarding homes with children. And I think Phil and I can agree that if you have a home with children around, you should probably have your firearms secured. There's really no downside to having your firearms secured and one on your hip.
But if that's
when you have children in the home,
then why the hell did the state exempt themselves from that same law if it's so good for the rest of us?
Well, you see, Phil, because the police officers can't be held to the same standard as a regular individual.
Of course. Why would we hold a person with a 95 IQ and a high school education that went through post responsible for enforcing the laws? He's probably not smart enough to fucking read. That makes perfect sense.
Have you ever seen how police tests get done?
Please, Nick. No.
Open book, open note, Phil. Open book, open note.
I was going to pivot to the fact that, even once we get past the police officers, then we're dealing with the friggin' incestuous, kitty-touching cokeheads who run most of our government offices.
Yep.
Let's pivot to one more.
Well, the good news is a lot of them that are up for re-election are popping on the Ozempic, so they're going to have brittle bone disease. Next time they fall over, they're done.
I hope they trip and break every bone in their fucking bodies. To hell with those people.
I mean, given our presidents lately tripping and falling on all kinds of stuff, past and future, past and present, I should say.
Jeff just brought something up that I had heard about and honestly forgot about. Have you heard of
the
this,
Oregon
Nick?
Peace Act. I have. I happen to be a person that has gone hunting in the past. I do quite enjoy tossing out a line for a wee trout or a bluegill or a nice bass.
Catch and release is also banned under this.
Yeah, I know. Look, I can understand why people sometimes have a problem with catch and release.
I can too, I encourage those people not to catch and release. Go mind your fucking business. Leave everybody else alone.
If you want to eat every single fish you catch, I hope you never catch a fish outside of a legal slot limit. That also means you'll never catch a trophy fish, so have fun, fuck off. But this seems to be a complete and total ban on hunting and fishing.
Yes. Because killing animals is bad. Everyone should be a vegan and guns are scary.
Which is hilarious because every single vegan consumes animal products. Every single one. Whether they know it or not, they do. Because every single one of those mass harvested plants and grains that you eat is covered in the blood of field animals.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see what happens when a deer gets caught in a combine during the harvest, Phil?
Mulch.
They get pulled straight in. And often it's fawns. A lot of times it's yearling fawns. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Raggle, there's about to be an explosion in hit and run stats.
If the manslaughter charge for hitting an animal with your vehicle does end up a thing. But
bruh, given the conversation we just had about how Illinois, I am convinced they will charge someone with it eventually.
They will find a way.
They will find a way.
Leave out rat poison, they're going to find a way to charge you.
And look, all I'm going to say is what I said when I first heard about this nonsense. My answer is poaching.
Yeah, that is what will occur. That is what will occur.
Listen, we started off by
wildlife will be gone.
We started off this conversation off by saying that a long time ago, a young, happy-go-lucky, really idealistic Phil was like super law and order, and it's not the police's fault they enforce stupid laws. The politicians should write better laws and back the blue and Republican, neocon, the whole 9 yards. And I have come around to the point where I am so freaking fed up with these laws and these politicians and these assholes who are freaking demanding all this bullcrap be rammed down everybody else's throat, that I am now firmly in the camp of the next time you idiots pass a law I don't like, I'm not just going to ignore it. I'm going to flagrantly and publicly ignore it. I dare you to do something about it. I will shoot every freaking animal I feel the urge to, and if you don't like it, come get some. I have a deer rifle. How close do you want to get to me? That is the point I'm at with this. I mean, if you outlaw all hunting in a state, I am no longer going to be that rational, reasonable person that says, fine, we should abide by the law. We should have our day in court. We should fight it like a mature adult at the ballot box. No, we should go in the woods. We should shoot Bambi in its freaking face, eat its raw meat directly off the bones. And when someone shows up, say, hey, you weren't supposed to shoot the deer. I'm not saying shoot at that person, but I'm saying if some hood rat shit happens, you kind of asked for it at this point because you passed a law you had no right to pass, and you approached a man with a hunting rifle, and if bad things happen at a certain point, you are asking for it.
It's very similar to the issue that we're currently seeing with the Sikh population and the British population in the UK right now, regarding the knife bans and the stabbing that's been in the news all over the place.
So the one that Keir Starmer said that
laws.
The one that Keir Starmer is saying that we are not we need to be more tolerant, and we need to be tolerant of our neighbors. We need to be
more tolerant of people stabbing us.
Yeah,
right.
Dude, freaking
Phil, have you ever been impaled accidentally by something?
Like Not through like a major part of my body,
like,
but like through fingers and stuff and
yeah,
hands.
you've had like a nail pop through your foot or something.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. It doesn't feel great.
Does not really optimum.
Yeah, blunt objects hurt really bad too. While we're on that
Did you see
subject.
the size of the knife guy stabbed him with?
No.
It was one of the large Sikh ceremonial knives. It was like 8 inches.
Oh, that's hellish.
Yeah, quite hellish. Stabbed him multiple times, but the feel-good anti-racism laws are more important than a deadly stabbing. This is the point we're getting to with Oregon's hunting laws. The feel-good, letting people out of jail, don't hurt the squirrels, don't hurt the rabbits, is more important than people feeding their families and being safe.
So, Nick, what happens when a portion, let's say 10%? What happens when 10% of people finally decide, you know what? I don't care about your laws anymore. I'm just going to do what I want.
Well, look at what happened with the marijuana. Just in general, like since the 1930s and 40s, actually more like the 50s and 60s when marijuana really started to explode across the US. It was banned. It was illegal. What did we get? We got an explosion in drug trafficking and criminal organizations to fund it. So, ban hunting. Great. Ban firearms completely.
We'll get an explosion of black market firearms and poaching.
When you take a person that has not only the willingness, but the ability to violate the law, because look, you're not going to find everyone. You're not. You're just flat not. Bro, you just have to hope that you scare a plurality of the population into thinking they will get caught.
They're still hunting moonshiners up and down Appalachia to this freaking day.
They've been hunting moonshiners since before this nation.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Still not.
You're never going to get rid of shine stills. And actually, though, positive news on that front, it is no longer federally illegal to create hard liquor and distill it at home for personal use.
Yeah, Raggle, I've been saying for years, banning hunting rifles.
They're already working on that in Illinois.
But they're not going to call them hunting rifles. What they're going to... They're going to call them sniper rifles. If it has a scope on it, it's a sniper rifle now.
High-powered rifles is the new term that I've heard our state legislature pushing around.
And what, pray tell, do they consider high-powered? Because, you know, where I come from, something that...
A centerfire bolt-action rifle.
Oh, so, you know, a 243 Winchester's. High-powered.
I mean, to be fair, 300 Win Mag, I would call it a high-powered cartridge. It is. I don't see any reason why banning that is required. Raggle, Mosins are center-fired, and they are a full-bore rifle.
I think he was making a joke.
They're a battle
that rifles. They're not considered high-powered. But it's basically right. It's basically rimmed 30-06.
Yes, it is. It is just a sexier 30-06 bullet.
Although,
let's be fair, that case looks great.
The last time I compared 7.62x54 rim to 30-06, someone got really pissed off at me explaining how like the 7.62 rimmed, I think, was a little bit more powerful than 30-06, so it wasn't really an apples to apples comparison. Listen, I'm as pedantic and autistic about guns as the next person, but that was even pushing my limits a little bit, because I'm like, okay, if you've never seen a Mosin or a 7.62x54R in your life, and I say it's rimmed 30-06, you're gonna be like, oh, I know what you mean now. You know, like,
yeah, I mean, the ballistic coefficient is ever so slightly different.
But the
velocity is ever so slightly different. I can make a 30-06 round mimic a Mosin round. I can make a Mosin round mimic a 30-06.
But my point was,
not that difficult.
It's a 30 caliber long action.
Raggle, if your Mosin is not scoped, you are doing it wrong. Feel bad. Get a turn down bolt handle like I did, and put the original scope on there, so that you can play Russian Sniper.
Is it weird
in
that
Stalingrad match?
Is it weird that I've never had a Mosin?
Do you want one?
Oh Christ!
Like, do you have any desire for one at all?
Damn it!
I'm not giving you one.
My gut feeling...
I only have one left.
My gut feeling is I need another gun like I need a hole in the freaking head. But it's a Mosin, and I kind of want to just shoot one a bunch.
You know what? I'll see if I have room, in the gun vault I'm bringing down. You can shoot mine. You will hate it. It's terrible.
No.
It's horrible.
I've handled one before. I've just never owned one or done a lot of shooting with one. But like, it's kind of like that SKS. Like, I wanted an SKS for a while, and now that I have one, and I have, I don't know, a few thousand rounds of 7.62x39. That, see, a funny thing happens when I buy a rifle or a shotgun or a pistol. Like, if I don't already have,
cases of ammo just show up magically.
Well, no, I go stock up on more ammo for that weapon. But like in this case, I knew I had a bunch lying around for my AK, and I hadn't shot it in a while, so like I didn't really know how much I had. So I literally opened up my safe and started pulling out ammo cans and popping it over, be like, oh, that's a can of 7.62x39. And clunk, oh, that's a can of 7.62x39. Clunk, oh, that's 5.56. That's 9mm. That's this. Oh, here's another can of 7.62x39. I have no idea how I had more than 2,000 rounds of the shit just lying around.
It's easy to do, though, when you buy it 1,000 at a time.
But here's the wacky part. The SKS came with more than 1,000 rounds, with it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So for a cartridge that I don't shoot that often, I now have almost 3,000 rounds of ammo lying around.
Sounds like a great excuse for a range day.
I mean, that's why I've been saying for the longest, like, you know what? I was going to bring my AR to Kentucky.
Bring the SK.
I might bring the AR and the SKS.
That'd be fun.
And just bring 1,000 rounds and
rip them.
Everybody can have a party with that thing.
Oh, hell yeah. It's a lot of fun. The SKs are a lot of fun to shoot.
Yeah.
Jeff, I get you. You guys probably remember back in like 2008, 2009, 2010 when Cabela's and stuff had Mosins for $69, $59 sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a local gun shop near me called Gat Guns at one point did a case sale of Mosins. If you bought a case of Mosins, you got a spam can.
A crate. A crate of Mosins.
A crate of Mosins. You got a crate of spam cans with the crate of Mosins. And so it was 2 spam cans and 10 Mosins. And I think it was like $650. And me and a buddy of mine went like, we'll each kick in 3. Let's go do that. So we bought a case of Mosins, a crate of Mosins, and we bought a whole bunch of spam cans. And they had extra crates of the dual racks of spam cans laying there. So we're like, is there a limit on how many we can buy? The answer was no.
And that's when
so he maxed out his credit card on ammo.
And that's when Nick figured out what gross vehicle weight is.
I got pulled over leaving Gat Guns, and I got to spend a very nice long time with several police officers until a sergeant came up and informed the nice police officers that no, there is no law against him buying what appears to be a pallet of Russian surplus munitions.
Raggle, I don't know if those are bad decisions were made or good decisions were made.
We gave those Mosins out as birthday gifts to a bunch of people because we just didn't know what else to do with them.
See, you know what?
Legal gun owners. We did the transfers.
All of my friends are freaking trash. I've never been given a firearm for my birthday.
Okay, but we were giving out $60 Mosins as birthday gifts.
I've been given
give them a spam can of ammo with it.
I've been given $60 bottles of whiskey.
Yeah,
and because I don't drink very often, I still have most of them. I actually need to just bring a chunk of my liquor cabinet up to Kentucky.
It's one way to get rid of it.
Well, okay, but like a finger in here every couple of shows is like my normal consumption rate. So like when I get a couple of bottles of whiskey for an event, I'm going to be drinking on that for the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't bought, I was about to say I haven't bought my own whiskey, but I have bought my own whiskey. The problem is after that, I got given more whiskey.
That's true. And I probably should send you home with some from Kentucky.
Oh, I need more.
Creek. I was not able to get the hazmat bottle. They only had 20 bottles and they raffled them off. I'm like, you motherfuckers. I would have given you stupid money for that.
I mean, I'm sure we'll find something.
I didn't need 152 proof cask strength whiskey
That
on this
sounds
trip.
that
I did not.
that sounds like bad decisions. Well,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and wrap up talking about the trip to Kentucky because
Mhm.
this isn't, now to be fair, this is like the Matter of Facts patrons, the MoF Minions camping trip. And
if you find us, we'll not be hard to locate. We're loud.
yeah, we'll try not to be super stupid, retarded loud, but we will be
No.
moderately retarded.
There will be noise and dogs.
This year,
hopefully.
our buddy Brian is arranging a range day for us at a private
Mhm.
range that he's a member of, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
I am waiting to
I'm
find
bringing
out.
the very excellent 1022.
I'm waiting to find out if my girls are going to join me. My daughter is like on the fence about it.
Okay.
She said maybe ask her like Saturday when I'm packing up the guns and I really need a do or die. Like, am I bringing the 22s or not? She said she'll make a decision by then.
I'll bring my 22 if you want to risk it, and she can always come and shoot that if she wants. I'll have plenty of ammo.
Yeah, I mean, Brian pretty much said he's bringing up 22 to keep the kids having fun all afternoon. But I mean, to me, it's like I will happily bring that Marlin 990, and I need to bring some cleaning supplies because, like, I'm pretty sure I finally got the kinks worked out of that thing. The last time I took it shooting, about every 2 or 3 magazines full, it would refuse to freaking eject. It would refuse to eject around. So it would, like, the bolt would ride back, the case would come like halfway out, the bolt would slam forward and mangle it, and then you'd have
not uncommon.
You'd have a failure to eject and a double feed, which was a real gigantic pain in the ass. I think I tracked it down though. I took the fire control group out and I realized that the ejector was like really, really, really gritty. Like I cleaned it as well as I could, but obviously in between the ejector and the housing it was in, there was some carbon just kind of and some junk just kind of stuffed in there. So I did the old hose it out with ballistol, and I just manually operated the ejector over and over and over until the crunchiness went away.
Yeah, worked all the crud out.
Yeah, just use that
because it's roll pin fixed, isn't it?
Yeah,
and on the 10 and the 990.
And the 990, and I mean 990 is like, I think it's a Remington Model 70. It's the same.
Yeah, but I think they're all roll pin fixed, and it's very not easy to get that roll pin.
I have looked at a diagram on how this fire control group comes apart. I do not want to take it apart if I don't have to.
Fair enough, man.
I've ripped apart a friggin' Smith & Wesson 642 J frame, which already looks like a Swiss watch on the inside with all that shit going on.
It is.
I tore one of those apart to do a spring kit and everything on it, and that was one of the more terrifying gun jobs I've done before. Yeah. This thing genuinely intimidates me. Like I took one look at it, and the problem is it's so many little parts and so many springs that you have to hold under tension to get the pins in, and you have to get the pins through multiple components. So the common knowledge seems to be that what you really need is a drift, and you like one piece at a time, go pop, pop, pop,
drift
pop.
punch.
Yeah, you have to, but you need one that fits really, really tightly, because if not, then when you go to put your main pin in, nothing's in alignment. It just looks like a gigantic pain in the butt that would be my opportunity to sproing something off into the annals of my garage.
Yeah, and then good luck getting a pen. Good luck getting what you need.
Yeah, well, it'll be just like the D10 from my AR-15 lower that I built that went sproing, and then it's in the stratosphere.
Always buy 4 or 5 of those damn things every single time.
Yeah, well, now I have a couple of oops kits for a reason.
So, Phil, interesting thing. Little bit of industry knowledge on mold making. There's things called TI pins. You know what that stands for?
Titanium?
Nope. Thousandths increment.
Oh, that's
you
wonderfully
pedantic. Every 1/1000th of an inch. From like, I believe it's 31 or 32 thousandths up to half inch. So if you need a drift of an extraordinarily specific size, PCS Mold Components sells extremely specific size pins in various lengths, and they're like $3.
How long are they?
You can order them with a credit card.
How long are they?
I think you can get them in 3, 5, and 10 inch.
Oh, more than plenty.
Oh yeah, more than plenty.
I don't know.
More than plenty.
So far, I'm subscribing to the hose it out with ballistol, and then like keep working the component until you crush up all the carbon, and the next time you hose it out, just this black gunky crap comes spilling out the bottom of it.
Do you have a sonic cleaner?
No.
Might be worth investing in. I've been debating on getting one myself for a while, but I just take all my gun stuff I need to clean to the 2-gallon sonic cleaner at work and dump it in there when the anti-gun person's not paying attention.
That's cute that you have one of those.
He opened it up one time when I had a couple of firearm control groups, barrels and slides in there. He went, "What in the world was this?" That's about half of 4 guns. Don't worry about it.
It's called Mind Your Business.
It's called Just Leave It Alone, man. I'll clean it out at break.
Yeah.
I'm on the clock now.
But yeah, that's kind of what we're shaping up for. I have no earthly idea what we're going to get into. I know that a couple of people talked about like maybe visiting some of the local distilleries, breweries that are there. I don't know if I'll be in for that just because, like, you know, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I doubt she's going to be interested, and they may not even allow a minor into those places.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And I know Gillian's likely to not be that interested. So I don't know. Like, I know we're going to do the gun range, and I know that we're going to find some other nonsense to get into while we're up there with everybody. But the cool thing about
there's a couple of really nice short hiking trails that go to a few little waterfalls that my wife has found. She's going to bring up a lot of like 1Z, 2Z mile things.
I was telling Gillian about that. That's definitely something I'd like to check out. But you know, the big thing about the Matter of Facts camping trip has always been that you go out there and you bring your family and you do what you want to do. Like if you just want to go off and do your own thing, and then like
we'll hang out around the fire,
lunch, dinner, hang out around the campfire, whatever. But like it's always been that thing where everyone can bring their own family, everybody can do their own thing. They have the experience at their pace, doing it the way they want to do it. It is like the most approachable, open-ended. After you go do this once or twice, it literally becomes camping. It literally becomes like family vacation with your extended family.
It really is. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed last year's.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the day I can pet your dog.
She'll get there.
I know.
I recommend cheese or sourdough. She really liked the sourdough last time.
I think I'm slowly wearing her down because, like, last time she'd get closer and closer to me, and then she'd realize she was close to me and then get on the other side of Rachel.
Dude, she does that to me to this day sometimes.
I mean...
She'll be laying on me on the couch, and then you'll see her nose start going, and she'll just, like, creep an eye up and look at me, and then freak out and jump to the other end of the couch.
Puppers.
She forgets who I am.
I mean, the way I am with dogs is like, hey, if you want to hang out, you can hang out. If you want to be over there, you can be over there. That's cool.
I will pet you if you come to me, though.
So, Raggle, it's not that she doesn't like people. It says she doesn't like people she doesn't know.
Yeah, she's a rescue, and she had a fairly traumatizing puppyhood. She had she was abandoned along with her litter, and I think there was some abusive owners before that or in the transfer process. And you know, it's when dogs have a hard time when they're younger, especially when it's like they had a hard time with a very big guy and then a big guy walks up, it triggers a trauma response in a dog, just like it does with a person. I mean, I don't blame her. She has gotten phenomenally better. She lets most of our neighbors pet her and will allow them to give her a treat. So she's gotten a lot better, but it took probably, 6 months of her living with us before I could put her collar on her or like walk her around the yard.
Yeah.
It took a while.
I don't take it personally. She'll warm up to me or she won't.
Needs to.
It's up to her.
She will eventually, especially if you have cheese.
But
that's how I got her to like me.
But I am a dog petter. I like to pet that dog.
I'm going to pet that dog.
I'm going to pet that
especially,
dog.
Bring as many dogs as you want to the MoF trip. I will pet all your dogs.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and roll this one out. Today is the 4th. I'm going to I'm going to edit this tomorrow, and it's going to post on Saturday. And next week, there will probably not be an episode come out on Thursday because Thursday will be the day that I am driving home.
Yes, we'll probably record Wednesday night after the range day.
We will record someday while we're out there, and I will post it. I mean, I might actually get the audio out for Saturday when it normally gets released. That might happen. But as
That could
far
be
as the
good.
stream, like if I do what I've done in the past, I'll bring like my laptop and a tripod and a webcam, and we will do some kind of malfeasance while we're out
We
there.
will goad people into being on the show.
It usually involves whiskey
Yes.
and bribery
And cigars.
and cigars and
Food.
blackmail.
Yes.
But anyway, so yeah, we'll roll this one out the door. If you didn't get the Phil Rant you were hoping for, it's partially your fault for not sending Nick the proper ammunition to get me riled up. But I think we had a couple of okay ones. But the bar is set really high now for Nick to really get a real Phil Rant out of me, because when I was in my 30s, boy, I was spring loaded to the FU position.
Yeah.
And now that I'm 43, I've started to mellow out just a little bit.
Yeah, he's really got to start worrying about the cardiac situation here. We get the blood pressure too high. Gillian could be upset with me.
When you see this vein right here in the forehead start freaking pulsing, that's when you know it's about to go down.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Matter of fact, going out the door. I will talk to y'all sooner or later. We're going to have fun up in Kentucky. And for those of you who are going up there, on the way out the door, Rag was saying, well, where was Gillian? She was supposed to come in with the assist. I will let her know that she let y'all down just as soon as we wrap. Good night, everybody.
Night.